Warning: viewer discretion is advised. Lightning falls across Santa Cruz as Mira watches frightened. She runs into the House of Mirrors, taking shelter there. She stays there for a while, but knows that her parents will be scared. So she goes towards the exit sign, only to find that it's a reflection. She's scared, but calms herself by whispering. But something whispers back. Something moves behind her. She turns around, but there's nothing there. She lets out a sigh of relief, for it's only her reflection. But then she realizes it's facing the wrong way. 20 years later, she's married to Abe and has 2 kids, James and Abby. Abe takes them for a surprise vacation and brings them to Santa Cruz Beach. She's shocked but doesn't say anything. At the beach, they meet their friends, Mike and Liz, and their twin daughters. Liz comments on how strangely Mira is behaving. Back at their house, Abe clowns around with his boat, while Abby and James prank each other. When suddenly the power goes out. A family standing outside. Gabe asks them if he can help, and they just stand. He threatens them to leave, and they just stand. He starts calling the cops and gets a bat, and they move. Gabe backs up into the house and locks the door. They crash into the door but can't open it, and the family breathes a sigh of relief when the girl realizes her bedroom window is wide open, and then the lock turns. Abe tries to stop it, but he's attacked, and they break inside. The 3 back off as a lady enters with very sharp shears and motions them to sit. They're frozen when a boy breaks in and growls at their feet, forcing them to sit down, and they all line up in front of the family. James is the first one to get it. "It's us," he says. Mira is handcuffed to the table, and the lookalike tells them a story of the tethered, a story of a young girl and her shadow. The young girl was given toys, soft and cuddly, but the shadow was given toys, sharp and deadly. The young girl got her meals, warm and tasty, but the shadow had to survive on rabbits, raw and bloody. The young girl met a handsome prince, and the shadow met Abraham, not because she loved him, but neither of them had a choice. He was the prince's shadow, after all. The young girl had a daughter, sweet and friendly, and the shadow had a daughter, twisted and deadly. The young girl had doctors cut her open and remove her son, but the shadow had to do it herself. Too long we have suffered under this regime, and now it's time for the untethering. Abraham knocks Abe down and breaks his leg and carries him away. Broken glass pierces his body. She goes closer to the daughter and whispers, "Run!" And the lookalike starts giving chase. She sweetly introduces the boys and tells them to go play. Abraham moves closer to the broken Abe and pulls out a shear. The boys play with only the flames for light, and the son realizes something interesting. He removes his mask and the shadow mimics him. And then the lights go out. Abby hides behind the car, but the shadow finds her and mimics her every move. And then she looks down below and nobody's there. Darkness falls on her as she smiles with a very sharp something in her hand. Abe awakens, bloody and groggy, tied up in his boat when the engine gives. Abraham tries to fix it and Abe knocks him out of the boat. But suddenly the boat starts moving, dropping Abe into the water with Abraham. Our neighbor shouts at the shadow and the daughter flees as the screams of the dying man fill the air. The son bursts free and locks the shadow inside when the shadow's mother goes to investigate. Mira frees herself. The son and the mother flee to the docks where they find the father. But Abby is nowhere to be seen. Abby suddenly appears running and all four escape in the boat to Liz and Mike's house. Their house is warm and cozy as Mike relaxes by the fire. The family jokes around when they don't even last 5 seconds. The four reach the house and find music playing. Meena bangs on the door and Mike opens up. Immediately, she realizes he's not Mike and tries to stab him, but he barely notices, and they drag her into the house. Invincible Mike comes out to play, giving chase to the father. Shadow Liz smiles as she puts on pink lipstick, happy at last, but it wipes off her face as Mira struggles to break free. The children enter the house and arm themselves as the shadow comes at Mira with shears. She kills the twins and is about to rescue Mom, but gets caught. She struggles and the shadow cuts her with the shears, but James knocks her out in time. The family, beaten, try to decide on a plan when James makes a casual comment about too many twins. The family turns on the news channel to find all of California is under attack, with the killers holding hands, forming hundreds of kilometers wide line. They decide to flee to Mexico and drive out into the embrace of the salty, starry night. As dawn breaks, they're stopped by a burning car and James' shadow. Mira steps out to kill him when it's a trap. The shadow holds up a match and there's a line of fuel all the way to the car. Mira pleads with him, but he burns the match leisurely. Suddenly, James steps out of the car and makes the shadow mimic him, causing him to be burnt. All is well. And then Mira screams and chases them down as the father and daughter take refuge in an ambulance. She follows them and ends up where it all began. She finds the very same mirror and a hidden door behind it. She takes an escalator down and finds herself face to face with her shadow. How lovely it must have been to grow up in the sun, to feel the winds, leaves, and see the sky. She tells her how their own government managed to duplicate bodies and created the tethered so that they could use them to control the ones above like puppets. It all went wrong and the tethered were abandoned but continued on for generations. They all went mad down here, forced to mindlessly mimic with no mind of their own, forever. But then, it all changed that night. They were born special, and she wanted to make a statement. The tethered sensed that she was different, and she trained them to return to the world once more. Mira is hypnotized when the shadow lunges. Mira has the weapon but is no match for the shadow's grace and agility, all of which she learned from Mira. It seems hopeless until Mira hears her son suffocating in a locker and in a fit of rage snaps the shadow's neck. And at last they set off for Mexico, calm and steady, when Mira has a flashback of that horrible night. How the little girl was attacked by her shadow, how the little girl was chained up, how she was so scared and frightened, but also excited as she escaped into the fresh night sky above. Her son looks at her strangely, but she shakes it off, and they ride into the dying ember rays of the Mexican sun.